inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you, cause real women don't bitch, no. Real women don't, 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 real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. Hey out there, how are you doing? Welcome back. We are here for another session. I am so excited because I was able to connect with someone that got placed in my path many years ago. I'm going to give her a second to let you guys know who she is. I just want to show how phenomenal your long game needs to be, because we originally met each other in St. Louis on an online radio show where we guest hosted and did a bunch of production with someone else. We kept in touch online, you know, even if it was nothing more than a like or a share or a post or whatever here and there, but we left on good terms. We just, you know, stuff was happening. We were going the way we were going. And here we are again, collaborating. So it's good to preserve relationships. That's not what this segment is about, but I wanted 2 seconds to just brag on the fact that I have been blessed for her to be in my life for so long. So without further ado, would you please tell the people who you are and what you do?
Hello, everyone. My name is Sharonda McMullen, and I go by I Am the Sharonda. And I am all about motivating people to look within themselves and to understand that they are powerful already, even if they don't feel it, even if they don't know it, but they have power within themselves, and they can utilize that power in order to excel in life.
Absolutely. And when I tell you she walks the walk, she talks the talk, her story alone is going to give you a lot of the insight that you need. Before we just get into, you know, how you're supposed to think, what you should feel, I want you to talk to them a little bit about your journey, how you became an entrepreneur and what transitioned you into doing what you're doing now, because your path before, you were doing some other stuff.
And you know what? I was just talking with someone just yesterday about the other stuff. And I've had a colorful employment / entrepreneurial background. So I've done, you know, a few different things, but it's all very similar. But I will tell you, as far as my journey is concerned, it started with me. Yeah. So I was not the one that said, I want to be an entrepreneur, and I set out to be an entrepreneur. What happened was I set out to learn who I was. And then once I got that, and once I got the connection with God, because that was part of my journey as well, a major part of my journey. Once I got that in place, then my purpose began to evolve. And when my purpose evolved, that's how I began to really go into entrepreneurship.
And, and one of the crazy things about what you just said, everybody's different. I don't believe in cookie cutter answers, but a lot of us, we are so frustrated. We're not content with our situations. And it's like some people force themselves to become entrepreneurs and they don't do that inner work first. And it's kind of hard, when you have to go through the self-discovery process on the back end. I mean, hey, everybody, you're here. And for some of you, this is why you're listening, because you've done the outer work with building the business, wanting to change your life, have another way to make money. But man, the spiritual game, the mindset game, that's where you're about to pull out your hair. And it's like, man, what do I do? And part of it has to do with tapping into your inner power, getting that relationship with God. And listen, we're both on the same page. I'm going to let you elaborate on it before anybody gets completely repelled. We don't push anything on anybody. And when we say that term, it's relative. It's about spirituality. We're not religious.
Right.
And you guys that have been following me for a while, I don't even have to give that disclaimer, but I still want to put it out there because there are a lot of newcomers. So why don't you kind of talk to them, about that too, because I know because both of our past, even though we were unorthodox, we had to get away from and break from some religious things in order to
absolutely
where we are today. Take that wherever you want to take it.
Yeah, as I was saying before, as part of my journey, I had to learn who I was, and I had to learn what my source of strength was.
Yeah.
I had to learn, did I even have strength? It was at a point where I was really low and I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I had grown up in the church, but it was not really doing much for me. And I had to develop my own kind of relationship. And so I set out to learn, meet the creator for myself.
Absolutely.
And in that, I learned that there was so much more to it than church. Yes. So much more to it than finances, than health, and all that. It was so much more. And when I really learned that, first of all, and I stand on this, that there is a creator, regardless to what religion you may be or none at all, there is something that created everything.
Yes.
And that being had a plan in mind when things were created.
Yes.
So you were individually created. I was individually created. Our viewers were individually created for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
And once that specific purpose is realized, that is when you will live your most pleasurable life, because you are living according to the plan by which you were created.
Absolutely. And I just want to say this. I like the fact that you keep using the word created. We are so freaking in sync, which we were even back then.
Right.
For the viewers that don't know, the name of my company is Created. And I specifically titled it that because of what was downloaded to me. And I'm like, yeah, we're created by the creator to create. And when I was doing soul searching, I was trying to find my way, what I was going to do as an entrepreneur. And it was like, okay, I can design jewelry. I can do this. I can do hair. And I'm like, you know what? I am a creative human being. And then I was like, well, I'm creative with my words, and I can write poetry and I can write books. And I realized that the name of my company would encumber every single thing about me. And like you said, I began to realize the more I got away from the noise of my family, the noise of the church, the noise of my friends. No, everybody, I'm not saying that you have to go MIA and throw up the middle fingers and the deuces and say, I don't want anything to do with anybody.
Right.
But for me, I did like literally move to a whole nother other city. And people couldn't knock on my door. They couldn't come and see me. They couldn't talk to me. They couldn't ask me for favors because they just took for granted that I was available. And when I had that quietness, I was like, whoa, this is my purpose. And ever since I had that epiphany, that same epiphany that you had, I realized, you know what? I've been doing this all my life, even when I wasn't getting paid.
That's right.
And yes, I learned as a professional that I can and I should package my products and do all of that accordingly. But at the same time, like for me personally, I'm a coach. That means I motivate and I inspire and I give direction. I may not be able to sit down with every person that I cross and map out a plan because that requires an appointment in time. But I made a decision. If I'm going to cross anybody's path, I want to inspire and I want to motivate them, even if it's just with my smile. You know, you may want to put your own spin on it, but that's what I felt when you were talking. You know, your purpose, your energy, you know, just what drives you, what pulls you, what makes you want to do and be a better person. When you get to that place, there's a lot of joy in it and freedom, and you discover a lot of stuff. What did you discover about you?
I discovered that I am an extremely powerful being, and I have the ability to do anything that I put my mind to. And I didn't believe that before. I didn't believe that I had the ability, the fortitude, the know-how to do this, that, and so. So I would say to people who are viewing and you're new entrepreneurs, and maybe you're feeling like, well, maybe I shouldn't do this. Or, you know, so-and-so put a bug in your ear and now you're really pondering, well, you know, maybe I should just go find a job. You know, maybe I should just, you know, switch lanes because so-and-so suggested it. But if you feel in your heart that you are supposed to be doing whatever it is that you have chosen to do, then I guarantee you that you do have the power and the energy and the fortitude to do it. You may not know everything, and we don't always know everything about how to do whatever when we start our journey, but I guarantee you that if you stay true to your journey, that opportunities will become available to you to learn. People will be put in your path to help, and you will eventually have a wealth of knowledge about your particular area. So yeah, I am a powerful being, and you are too. You are too, especially to accomplish that you were purposed to do.
Now, with your journey, you know, coming to this revelation that you're powerful, that you can manifest, that things will work according to your plan, help will be right there on time. Think about your journey, some of the most radical things that you did that the average person would probably be like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do that because I'm nervous or I'm scared. Talk to them and walk them through the process or what you were thinking or feeling when you got to this place of freedom, and what kind of things happened for you when you truly tapped into that?
Well, I got to the point where I finally thought I was grown and I was living exactly where I wanted to live and exactly how I wanted to live. I had a job that was salaried with benefits, and it was financing my life. It was financing my lifestyle very well. But I didn't like the job. I didn't like it. I didn't like being there. I didn't like having to get up every day at a certain time. I didn't like dealing with traffic. I didn't like waiting for my money. I didn't like it. The people, my coworkers were kind of okay. Management really sucked. So I was just like, I don't like it. And one day I said, it's got to be more to life than this.
Yeah.
And I just don't believe that I have to suffer and that I have to live in turmoil, that I have to live frustrated. I just don't believe that. So I quit. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have like a whole lot of savings, some, but not a whole lot. I just quit. And I said, it's got to be a better way. I have to walk the walk of the talk that I'm talking.
Yes.
That if there is a grand plan for my life, then I should feel one with that plan. Yeah. And where I was at that time, I didn't. I had headaches every day. I was catching colds. I mean, it was really manifesting physically my displeasure with my situation, and that's not the way it's supposed to be.
No,
so I left. So I left, and I said, okay, now the plan has to go into effect. And when I say plan, I meant my plan, the overall plan for my individual life. Now, this has to manifest. This has to work. This has to go. And I left, and I still live where I want to live. I still am living the life that I want to live. And now it's even more so because I'm traveling and all kinds of stuff, and I haven't missed a beat. I have just really fallen into or really absorbed what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. So I help people. I live each day as it comes. So I have a general plan, but I really just take each day as it comes, and I help people along the way, and they bless me for it. As opportunities come my way, I take advantage of those opportunities. So like I said, I have a colorful entrepreneurial background and employment background. So there's a few things that I can do to earn money, and I do those things as they come along, and they just keep coming along. I don't worry about tomorrow. I don't worry about the next month or whatever. And see, that's really counterproductive to worry.
It is.
Worrying is really showing that you don't trust the overall plan for your life.
Yeah.
And who are we to not trust the overall plan? I mean, we just have to go with the flow and get with the groove of what is intended for us, and everything will be okay. I am living proof of that. Everything will be okay. It is okay.
You know, this right here, this is one of those segments where it's either going to completely throw people off or it's going to completely turn people on. This is a love it or hate it level segment. But the whole reason behind this summit is to allow people to see a very diverse array of entrepreneurship, because there are some out there that are teaching things that are, I will say, the opposite or more detailed and refined versions of entrepreneurship than what you are presenting now. And what I want everybody to take away from this moment right now, right here, is that there is no one option. There isn't a cookie cutter plan. Some of us just happen to have the ability to manifest down better than others. And you have those testimonies. You have those moments in your life. It could have been something as simple as, I need to get a job, and I'm not going home until I find a job today. I hate where I live. I'm going to go get a lease. Somebody else is going to accept me even though my credit is bad. And then you go back and you're like, oh my God, girl, guess what happened? Or you talk to your guys, you're going to be like, man, look, I told you that this was going to happen. And the thing about it is it'll happen in those areas of your life. But for some reason, when it comes to entrepreneurship, this is an area that makes a lot of people kind of cringe, because it's like, you're feeling, whoever you are that's watching, her saying it isn't the motivation for you to do it. You were feeling it internally already. You know what? I have to take the nesty plunge. I need to walk away from this job. But please pay attention to her. She said she made sure she was talking and walking the exact same thing. Get out there and live life, feel life based on what you say you really believe. Be mindful, have your eyes open for opportunities when they come. Stay relaxed. Those of you that follow me, what do I always say? Stress stifles creativity. So some of you can't leave your job today, because if you leave your job today, you will be sweating bullets in your sleep, and you're going to wake up in the morning with all of that on you. And whether you want to call it faith or the law of attraction, the bottom line is you're putting out negative energy that is counterintuitive to the desires of your heart. And, from a law of attraction perspective, this says what you think about, you bring about. So if you're thinking, I don't want to be broke, you're going to attract broke. It's the same thing in the Bible. He says that you have not if you ask not, and that you should ask God for wisdom. He'll give it to you liberally. But if you waver, you shall receive nothing. That's James chapter 1. I condensed it into like 3 sentences, but once again, just making sure that they're really connecting the dots with what you're saying. If you're a spiritually intuitive person and you're not lazy.
Oh my, you cannot be lazy.
if you're spiritually intuitive and you're not lazy, then you can do this. But if you're spiritually intuitive and you're more like a la 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 type of person, then that lets you know that you're really not spiritually intuitive as you think. You're just frustrated, you know. And you came in when I said that, so that made you think something. I'ma shut up and let you run with that because it's real.
And see, you mentioned something earlier. There's no cookie cutter way to start your business. And there are some people, they put together a business plan. They go to a bank and they borrow money and they open this store and they buy inventory and they sell. They have a marketing department and they have all this stuff and they go forward. That's their way.
Yes.
I'm talking to people that don't have credit, that don't have money, that don't know how to put together a plan that can be presented to a bank. All they know is that this is what they want to do and this is how they think it should be done. So for those people who are maybe have never had entrepreneurial backgrounds or people in their family that have been entrepreneurs, they don't know much about it. All they know is that there's something pulling at them that says this is what they're supposed to be doing. These are the people that I think we're talking to, the folks that have a yearning to move forward. They just don't know how, and partly don't even believe that they can. They just know something needs to change. Those are the people that we're talking about because mindset is very important. You have to believe that you can. Now, you have to have faith and believing that it is possible. Now, you may not know how it's going to happen. You may not know when it's going to happen. You may not know how it's going to look, but you have to know that you're going to get there somehow. And as you said before, there's a million and one ways to get there. I mean, I'm in St. Louis and you're in Houston, right?
Yep.
So if I wanted to go to Houston, I could take the Amtrak. I could fly Southwest or American Airlines or Delta. I could get in my car and drive. I could hitchhike. I could take Greyhound. And none of those ways are wrong, but they are yet all different ways to get to the point. The point is start your process to get there, however that is that you need to do it. And pay attention to those gut feelings. Oftentimes as women, we have those feelings and people kind of shun us away, you know, try to make us think, oh no, it's just gas, or you don't know what you're talking about, or what have you.
Coming or something.
It's a cycle something. But it is important. Those gut feelings are there for a reason, and it's to point you in the right direction. And when you're having a churning nervous is different from churning, you shouldn't be doing it. Yeah. And I think we've all lived enough life to have experienced different things and to know the difference. So when you are moving in a direction and you have that feeling that you should not be going in that direction, don't go. Don't go. I quit my job. I had a reasonable amount of assuredness that that was going to be okay. I didn't know how it's going to work out. I didn't know what the plan was going to be. I didn't know, but I just did it and it worked out for me. Now, it may not be the right thing to do for somebody else. And I was at that job for almost 3 years, and I kind of hated it for half that time. So for about a year and a half, it wasn't time. It was time when it was time. Okay. So you have to really understand and get that feeling of knowing that absolutely you're supposed to do something. And just because you're supposed to do it doesn't always mean that it's going to be comfortable. So when you're moving in a direction, it may not be comfortable for you to do it, but it's still what you're supposed to do. And you know that it's what you're supposed to do because you just kind of know. It's that whole intuitive thing.
You know, I just want to give people a brief window into my life in connection with what you're saying, because I'm spot on with you. when you really, really just know, you don't know why, but you just know, and your actions line up with stuff, things just start happening, you know? And for me, yeah, we met in St. Louis, but yeah, you're in St. Louis still, and I'm in Houston. I had been a hairstylist for 20 years, decided out of the blue, I don't want to do this anymore. All my life was going to go down a different path in St. Louis. Once I made that decision, made the announcements to my clientele that I was going to filter them out, I was like, yeah, I'm going to give them 6 months to a year to find somebody else. 72 hours later, I was like, hey, babe, talking to my husband, you think we ought to leave St. Louis? He's like, yep. I was like, great, me too. Where are we going? We had no idea. So I woke up like another day later out of my sleep, didn't get up, use the restroom, brush my teeth or anything, just grabbed my phone. And I'm like, houses for rent in Houston. I'm like, why am I looking for houses in Houston? Just like a really weird moment. He was already at work. I sent him a message. Hey, babe, we're supposed to, move to Houston. He called me. Why? I'm like, hey, this is what I did. This is what I believe. And he was like, okay. And I was like, how fast do we need to get out of here? And he was like, what do you think? I said, I keep hearing these same words being spoken to me. Move with a sense of urgency. Move with a sense of urgency. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we got to get out of here. And I'm like, well, if we're going to get out of here, it only makes sense to do it before the end of the summer, because we have a school age child, and I'm, to get him in school, to do all of that, we need to get down there before August. And from that moment, I just knew that that's what we were supposed to do. And we immediately turned around. It wasn't even barely 2 weeks later, did a movie sale. So every non-essential thing in our home, gave the other stuff away. If it was too old, we trashed it. We emptied out our house. By the beginning of May, we found a realtor. End of May, put the house on the market. 72 hours later, had a buyer. July 19th. So this is all from April 15th to July 19th. We were on the highway, and on July the 20th, we've been in Houston ever since. And for people that don't know the back part of the story, there was a complication. So we didn't close on the 19th like we were supposed to. What we ended up doing is just moving anyway and believing that it would close. And we took what we did have. And like you, we had some money, but we wasn't like the Rockefellers. We spent 26 days in an extended stay, and finally we found an apartment. We've been here ever since. Completely restarted my life over again, walking in my passion and my path. But that's a practical example for you guys, understanding that when you're so focused, because you just know, you follow that gut, it doesn't necessarily make sense, but you just know that you know that you know. When you begin to thrust yourself forward, the energy, it's like magnets. Everything just begins to align for you. And I'm not saying that there weren't some complications. Some things did pop up, but we were so laser focused, and we had put things to a point that there was no turning back. And we found out right before we were going to move, when the house was under contract, that I was pregnant. And I felt like that was a gift, because if I had known 1 second before, I would have been like, oh, but the insurance benefits are so good, and I love my doctor, and I don't want to leave. It was too late. Everything, the ball was rolling. So my son was actually born here. So yeah, like she's saying, it's not for everybody, but if you're a highly spiritually intuitive person, they call it the solar plexus. When you've got that energy, you have to go with it. Now this is, there's energy right now. You've motivated and inspired me, because I'm like, you know what? I had a couple of things back here I need to keep playing. When I point back here, for those of you that don't know me, I mean my subconscious mind. Right. I bring it to the front. Go ahead and make it happen. I'm like, wait a minute. I love that. Challenge, accountability. But this is what you do with people too, right? You help them find their inner power, because this is what it's all about. Correct?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And there are people that are already highly intuitive, and everybody is intuitive. It's just some haven't tapped into it yet.
Now, I want to thank you for coming. I love you, your spirit, and your enthusiasm for life. Thank you for the wisdom that you shared. Thank you for being vulnerable and giving out, the personal aspects of your story. I'm certain that it was enjoyed, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your rigorous schedule to be here today.
I appreciate you, and thank you so much for having me on your show. And with this whole endeavor, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
We aren't finished yet. So this is your host, August Crenshaw, and I can't wait to talk to you again. Get ready for the next segment. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Deuces. Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomen.don't bitch podcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless, signing out. Deuces!
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in